In 2005, America watched Hulk Hogan, a man who looked like a fireworks store had gained consciousness, walk around a Florida mansion screaming at teenagers, tanning aggressively indoors, and treating every minor inconvenience like the opening promo for WrestleMania. And somehow, this became wholesome family entertainment. Millions tuned in every week to watch Hulk play suburban dad while his family spiraled around him. Brooke wanted to be a pop star. Nick treated traffic laws like optional side quests. Linda wandered through the chaos, trapped inside a very expensive hostage situation.
Would you be happier divorced?
I don't know.
No, you wouldn't be.
How do you know?
Because he's the love of your life.
The show sold one fantasy, that underneath all the muscles and patriotic branding, Hulk Hogan was secretly just a normal American dad, which is incredible in hindsight, because within a few years, this feel-good family show would involve a catastrophic car crash, prison phone calls, a leaked sex tape, a billionaire revenge plot that killed an entire media company, and racist recordings that got Hulk temporarily erased from WWE history.
That when it was verbally suggested, maybe we should go our separate ways, or maybe you should get a lawyer, and maybe we should just be divorced.
Almost all of it happened because reality finally interrupted the performance. Hogan Knows Best wasn't about family life, it was about branding. A manufactured version of fame designed to make Hulk Hogan seem relatable instead of terrifying. Most reality shows age badly. Hogan Knows Best aged like sealed court evidence. To understand why the show existed at all, you have to understand what television had become by 2005.
If you want to make your marriage work, that's what the doctor ordered.
The mid-2000s were the golden age of celebrity oversharing. Executives had figured out that audiences would happily watch rich people argue in kitchens for 45 minutes as long as someone cried near a marble countertop. The Osbournes was huge. Jessica Simpson accidentally built an entire comedy career by asking whether tuna was chicken.
You like this?
No.
Reality TV had stopped documenting people and started harvesting them, and the industry was very good at it. Sitting right in the middle of this beautiful societal collapse was Hulk Hogan. At that point, Hogan wasn't just famous, he was culturally welded into America's brain. The man had spent 2 decades telling children to train hard, say their prayers, and consume enough vitamins to alarm a horse veterinarian. His WWE comeback in the early 2000s reignited nostalgia so aggressively that crowds reacted to him like a returning war hero made entirely of protein powder. VH1 saw the opportunity immediately. Originally, they approached Hogan after his WrestleMania return in 2002, but he passed.
Are you gonna do it?
Hell no.
Brookie, come on.
I'm staying far away from them because those things freak me out.
Then he noticed something important. Reality TV wasn't just creating stars anymore. It was creating celebrity families. More specifically, celebrity daughters. Jessica Simpson, Ashley Simpson. The industry had figured out it could package awkward adolescence as premium cable content, and audiences couldn't get enough. So the Hogans became a brand. Brooke was positioned as the aspiring pop singer. Nick became the reckless adrenaline addict. Linda played the exhausted mediator holding everything together. And Hulk transformed into the overprotective sitcom father, whose solution to every emotional problem was either yelling or purchasing a jet ski. Like if a protein shake gained custody rights, the formula worked instantly because the illusion held.
What'd you see when you were 5?
You guys in bed.
Please, let's not go there
Wrestling. Oh, don't worry.
The show felt chaotic enough to seem real, but polished enough to stay comforting, and audiences believed every second of it, which is exactly what makes what came next so uncomfortable. Because years later, Hogan admitted the show was soft scripted, reality television terminology for fake, but with worse lighting. Producers created scenarios, conflicts were exaggerated. Linda reportedly woke up early to do her makeup before natural morning scenes. The family wasn't living on camera, they were performing a marketable version of themselves. 6 seasons deep, with a crew standing just off frame. And once your entire brand depends on people believing the performance is real, there's only one thing that can destroy it: actual reality. The first real crack in the Hogan empire arrived exactly the way everyone probably should have expected. Loud, reckless, and moving at a speed that legally requires concern. Because if you go back and watch Hogan Knows Best now, Nick Hogan doesn't come across like a goofy reality TV teenager anymore.
You don't think Nick's having do you?
Total player.
He comes across like a warning label with frosted tips. Every episode treated speeding like a personality trait, street racing, drifting, near disasters edited together with upbeat VH1 music like the producers genuinely believed property damage was a love language. And Hulk never really stopped it. That's the weird part in hindsight. The show framed Nick's behavior as boys will be boys, but it always felt less like parenting and more like Hulk watching a smaller version of himself become dangerously unsupervised.
And I'll be giving you the rub.
Then reality finally stopped cooperating with the edit. On August 26, 2007, Nick Hogan lost control of his Toyota Supra and crashed into a palm tree in Clearwater, Florida. His passenger, Marine veteran John Graziano, suffered catastrophic brain injuries that permanently changed his life. And instantly, the entire tone of the show collapsed. Because once a real person ends up permanently disabled, suddenly all those quirky wild child storylines stop looking funny. The audience couldn't pretend anymore. VH1 couldn't soundtrack its way out of this one with pop-punk guitar riffs and reaction shots of Hulk yelling in sunglasses. This wasn't chaos for entertainment anymore. It was negligence with merchandise deals. And then came the prison phone calls, which remain one of the greatest examples of reality TV families forgetting that consequences exist outside television editing rooms. Recorded conversations between Nick and Hulk leaked publicly, and instead of sounding remorseful, both somehow managed to sound annoyed that reality had interrupted their branding strategy. At one point, Hulk reportedly blamed negative energy around the situation, which honestly feels like the exact kind of sentence a man says after spending 30 years getting hit in the head with folding chairs for applause. The public reaction turned vicious fast because people started realizing something uncomfortable. Maybe the Hogan family wasn't secretly wholesome underneath the cameras. Maybe the cameras were the wholesome part. And right when the family image was already collapsing, the marriage exploded too.
We're here. You know that show Hogan Knows Best? What about Brooke Hogan? You think she's hot?
Linda Hogan filed for divorce after 26 years, reportedly after discovering Hulk had been unfaithful. Suddenly, America's favorite loud suburban sitcom family transformed into TMZ content almost overnight. The warm family dinner atmosphere vanished and got replaced with tabloid headlines, legal battles, and increasingly uncomfortable interviews where everyone involved looked emotionally exhausted. Even worse, allegations surfaced involving Hulk and one of Brooke's younger friends, which retroactively made his ultra-protective "don't date my daughter" brother routine feel significantly less charming. That's when the entire show started aging in reverse. Scenes that once looked funny suddenly felt weird, overproduced, aggressive, like the audience had accidentally mistaken volume for warmth.
So give a big round of applause for my 18-year-old daughter.
But somehow the absolute peak of the collapse still hadn't happened yet, because in 2012, the Hogan story stopped feeling like a reality show scandal and started feeling like someone generated a news article by smashing random words together in a Florida gas station. Gawker published clips from Hulk Hogan's leaked sex tape involving Heather Clem, the wife of radio host Bubba the Love Sponge Clem, a sentence so absurd it sounds AI generated even now. Hogan sued Gawker for invasion of privacy. Normal celebrity scandal so far. Then the story became insane, because billionaire Peter Thiel secretly funded Hogan's lawsuit as revenge against Gawker for previously outing him as gay, meaning Hulk Hogan accidentally became the human embodiment of a billionaire grudge match between Silicon Valley and gossip journalism. And somehow, Hogan won. The jury awarded him $140 million. Gawker collapsed financially. An entire media company effectively died because Hulk Hogan's sex tape became collateral damage in a tech billionaire revenge fantasy. The 2000s were not a serious decade. But even that wasn't the moment that permanently destroyed Hulk Hogan's image, because hidden within the leaked recordings were racist comments made by Hogan, including repeated use of the N-word while talking about Brooke's dating life. And overnight, the character died. WWE removed him from their website. Sponsors backed away. His Hall of Fame presence quietly disappeared. For a while, it genuinely felt like the company was trying to uninstall Hulk Hogan from American culture like corrupted software. And that's what finally killed Hogan Knows Best. Not just the scandals themselves, the contradiction. The entire show depended on audiences believing Hulk Hogan was secretly a decent guy underneath the performance. A loud, ridiculous, overprotective dad, but still fundamentally good. Instead, reality television accidentally documented what happens when a man spends decades performing a character so successfully.
Ask Linda.
Yeah.
If I talk to the sky, talk to Linda.
That eventually nobody around him could tell where the act ended anymore. The problem with Hogan Knows Best is that it was built on a contradiction from the very beginning. Reality television wanted Hulk Hogan to be two things at once, an immortal cartoon superhero and an authentic family man. But those two identities fundamentally cannot coexist. One survives on performance, the other requires honesty. And Hulk Hogan had spent 30 years turning performance into muscle memory. By the time the show aired in 2005, Hogan wasn't really a person anymore. He was a brand wearing sunglasses indoors. Even the family dynamics felt engineered for television. Brooke as the innocent daughter, Nick as the reckless son, Linda as the exhausted wife, Hulk as the loud protective father whose solution to every emotional situation was standing wider. And audiences believed it because early reality TV trained people to confuse visibility with truth. That's what made the scandal so destructive. Every controversy exposed the gap between the marketed version of the family and the actual one.
Times when your mother and I fight wide open verbally, and we shouldn't do that. Marriage is tough. You got to work at it.
The car crash revealed that Nick's reckless behavior wasn't charming teenage rebellion. It was dangerous and completely unchecked. The divorce exposed how fake the strong family image really was. The racist comments shattered the carefully maintained mythology of Hulk Hogan as this universally beloved American icon. And once audiences see the machinery behind reality television, the entire format starts looking bizarre. Because think about what the show actually was. A network placed cameras inside a family already struggling with pressure, fame, financial issues, and obvious dysfunction, then amplified those tensions for entertainment.
And if I keep working on my parenting and husband skills, maybe next year I'll get Husband of the Year.
Hulk later admitted the series was soft scripted, meaning producers actively constructed scenarios to make the family more dramatic and marketable. Which raises an uncomfortable question. If your reality show needs writers, are you documenting reality or just improvising a collapse? And honestly, Hogan Knows Best might be one of the clearest examples of the reality TV curse ever made. Not because cameras magically destroy families, but because fame rewards people for becoming exaggerated versions of themselves. Hulk became more Hulk Hogan. Nick became more reckless. Every personality trait got inflated because television needs escalation to survive. Normal families argue privately. Reality TV families do it under lighting rigs while executives discuss ad revenue. And the internet made it worse. By the 2000s, the Hogan family stopped being viewed as celebrities and started being consumed as content archaeology. Old clips resurfaced online with entirely new context. Scenes that once looked funny suddenly felt uncomfortable.
I take my car with a tracking device in it.
Because she's dated other models that were real inconsistent with her job.
TikTok users mocked the forced family interactions. YouTube essays dissected the scandals like crime documentaries. Every nostalgic moment became contaminated by what viewers now knew happened afterward. That's the real reason the show aged so badly. Not because the jokes were dated or the fashion looked insane, although both are absolutely true. It aged badly because the fantasy died. And once the audience stopped believing Hulk Hogan was secretly a wise, lovable family patriarch, the title Hogan Knows Best started sounding less like a sitcom and more like the setup to a joke with a very long punchline. Which leaves one final question. Was there ever a version of this story that could have ended well? The strangest part of Hogan Knows Best is that for a very brief moment, it actually worked exactly as intended.
What is Jerry doing there? You guys talk all the time.
Yeah.
Awesome.
People genuinely liked seeing Hulk Hogan as a dad. Underneath all the absurdity, there was something weirdly compelling about watching this enormous wrestling icon argue about curfews and family dinners instead of body slamming people through plywood. For a few years, the show successfully transformed a cartoon character from the 1980s into a relatable suburban father. That's honestly impressive. It's difficult enough getting people to trust a wrestler. America somehow trusted one wearing a velvet bandana indoors, but the entire thing depended on one fragile assumption, that the performance and the real person were close enough to each other, and they weren't. That's ultimately why the Hogan story still fascinates people. Not because the scandals were shocking. Celebrity culture produces scandals the way Florida produces hurricanes, but because every disaster exposed another layer of performance underneath the reality. The family sitcom turned out to be partially scripted. The wholesome father image collapsed into public controversy. The rebellious teenage son storyline stopped being entertaining once real lives were destroyed.
Look how cute these are.
Woo! I like it. Those are really sexy, especially with firm tan thighs.
The cameras didn't ruin the Hogan family. They just accidentally documented what was already there. And in a strange way, Hogan Knows Best became the perfect symbol of 2000s celebrity culture. Loud, artificial, emotionally chaotic, weirdly addictive, and deeply convinced authenticity could be manufactured by putting expensive people in front of cheap cameras. Which, to be fair, worked for quite a while. Until reality finally entered the ring. If you made it this far, you already know what to do. Like, subscribe, and hit the bell, because the next story is already waiting.